الآن
Now,
وبعد أن
and after
تأكدنا من
we
الوكالات
confirm the validity of the powers of attorney,
فنبدي
we
بتدوين وكالة المشتكين.
we start
على
with the
المشتكي الأول
plaintiffs.
أحمد حسن محمد.
We call the first plaintiff. Before the first and second plaintiff, I have an observation, if you allow me.
أستاذ
I have some observations, some comments before listening to the testimonies of the witnesses. The Iraqi laws, including the law of the Supreme Iraqi Criminal Tribunal and the rules of procedures, and as you know, that the prosecutors panel maintains and observes the application of the law. We observed that accepting the powers of attorneys that are of the lawyers that are not Iraqis are invalid. The law of the Supreme Iraqi Criminal Tribunal guaranteed the right for any of the defendants to appoint non-Iraqi lawyers, one or more. Yes, however, we observed that the court, the respected court, has failed to observe the Article 3 of the law, and also the Article 19 of the Supreme Iraqi Criminal Tribunal, and also the rules of procedures, the Rule 29. Our objection is that the lawyers that are not Iraqis have no legal standing to be present in this court, and we ask the court to review the Rule 29 that clearly stipulated that proceedings have to be complete time to follow the rules so that they can finish their true representation. And if the court, and we like for this to be in the minutes of the session, the court sees that the law of this court, the law number 10 it is a special law, and it allowed in the Article 19 for the defendant to seek the help of a non-Iraqi lawyer as long as the main principal lawyer is an Iraqi one. And this is a special law, and there will be an exception of the formalities and the rules of procedures that are mandated by the other laws, including the law of practicing law. And because of that, we accepted, and after we verified the ID credentials of the lawyers, and after we received confirmation that Mr. Ramsey Clark has a right to practice before the Supreme Court, and that he's registered since 1965 in the United States of America, and also other lawyers that are not Iraqi. This objection is to be entered into the minutes, in the minutes of the session, and you can appeal our decision, our final decision. The first plaintiff, Ahmed Hassan Muhammad. Ahmed Hassan Muhammad.
أستاذ خليل
Mr. Khalil,
طلب بس طلب استاذ.
نعم
I have a request,
بسم الله الرحمن
in the
الرحيم.
name of God.
خلينا ندون الإفادات.
Let's start with
اسمح
the
لك بكل ما تريد
testimonies.
من الطلبات. ملاحظة قصيرة.
A short, brief observation,
بسم
brief
الله الرحمن
comment.
الرحيم.
In the name of God, most
ولا
merciful, most.
يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على أن لا تعدلوا اعدلوا.
As reading from the Quran.
السيد رئيس المحكمة المحترم.
Chief
السلام
Judge,
عليكم.
peace be upon
في
you.
الجلسة
خليك
الماضية
بالمشتكي خلينا
طلبت منكم أن تسمحوا للمحامين.
Last session, I asked that you allow Mr. Ramzi Clark and Mr. Najim Naimi
ليقدموا مداخلاتهم القانونية حول الطعن في عدم شرعية المحكمة الجنائية وعدم مشروعيتها.
their
كما نود
legal opinion vis-à-vis the legitimacy of the and jurisdiction of the court.
المقدس بمهنية
And
كاملة.
also Mr. Clark wants to give an opinion about the security of the defense's team. I would like for you to give them a chance to present their legal opinions. Yes, this is entered in the minutes and you will be given a written response. The court vis-à-vis the jurisdiction and legitimacy, it sees that. But Chief Judge, before we enter, we wanted to give our opinion. The court sees that it is legitimate. If you have anything, you present it to us and we will respond back in writing. But before we go into the details, verbally, orally, I'm giving you the response that the court is legitimate, is formed by law that was ratified by the legislative authority and that was elected, duly elected. Is this a verdict? Is this a final? Should we consider that? No, what I'm saying is that this court is legitimate and the judges were appointed according to law and they were sworn in before the Judicial Council. And we are trying to, when we try to clarify, we aim at, we are not we are not on a personal level, we have nothing, but we are giving you an opinion regarding the procedures. But in all courts in the world you have to listen, this is to be listened to. We have not received any written request from the lawyers, but in spite of that we deliberated. We will take from you the requests and we will respond accordingly. This is a violation of the right of the defense. This is an excess to be entered into the minutes and no, there is no violation. No, there is no violation. We need, Mr. Dear, I would like to give you an observation. The defendants sought your help, but that is subject to the main attorney being an Iraqi. So your requests and your motions have to be through the main principles.
مع تتداول مع غير العراقيين. نعم اسمح في هذه اللحظات فتاخذ من عندهم نعم وجاوبت المحكمة.
The court responded and this will go into the minutes. Will you give us a formal response? Yes, after we take the written request from you, the court will respond to you in writing and in due time. But what's the plaintiff? What is the objection to listen about the security of the defense? Why are you afraid to listen to us when we say that this is in, is this This is a legitimate court. This is independent. That's your opinion, but we want to express our opinion. But you have to respond about our opinion. You have to give us a chance to present our oral presentation. If you have anything, you present it through Mr. Khalil, the first plaintiff. Should we consider that this is a decision that we can appeal? Yes, you will receive a written decision and you have the right to appeal it and go to the appeals committee.
بالإمكان أن نستمر في الإجراءات وأنتم تقدمون طعن.
We can proceed and you can present your appeal.
نحن طعنا أمام محكمة التمييز يجب أن تتوقف هذه المحكمة عن النظر في الموضوع إلى أن تفتي محكمة التمييز.
If we were to appeal to the appeals committee, then this court should stop until we get that. No, in our law, we can have a secondary file and the court can continue until the verdict of the appeals committee.
Amin, beginning this session, we saw earlier the prosecution question the legitimacy of Ramsey Clark and the former Qatari justice minister you saw there joining on to the defense team. The judge cited the Iraqi High Tribunal law saying that non-Iraqi lawyers are allowed as long as the chief defense attorney is an Iraqi, which in Saddam Hussein's case is Khalil Delaney. Now then, you saw the former Qatari justice minister Najib Nuaimi stand up. We had been told they were likely to make this argument in the legitimacy of the court. The judge saying that they will get a written decision. They can appeal that in conjunction with this process going ahead. Let's continue to listen in.
Language, but Arabic, and this time is not for you to speak. Your time will come, God willing. Yes, you can talk after we listen to the procedures. We heard you. Yes, you present in writing through the main attorney, Mr. Khalil. Through Mr. Khalil. Whatever you like to
let's
notify
go to Nick Robertson, who's actually in the court. Nick, what's the latest you have there?
Yes.
Well, the judge has just called...
Nick, what's the latest you have there?
Well, the judge has just called a 10-minute recess. The reason that you've been able to watch unfolding on the screen is a mini rebellion in the court by the defense lawyers. Ramsey Clark, an international advisor to Saddam Hussein in this trial, wanted to make a presentation to the court on the legitimacy of the court and the security for the lawyers within the court, and then he wasn't able to do that. The judge said several times that this could be submitted in writing and that a response would come in writing. Several other of the defense lawyers and international advisors for Saddam Hussein joined in. Ramsey Clark essentially led the charge by saying that he would be forced to leave if this issue wasn't heard. That created and sparked an ongoing argument, the judge telling them no, that this could be put forward, the documents and issues could be put forward in writing, that a response would come in writing. Eventually, after about 20 minutes of this to and fro, Ramsey Clark, the other international advisor, Saddam Hussein's other two defense lawyers left the court, and in fairly quick procession after that, we've seen the other defense lawyers in there, the other defense lawyers appointed by the defender leave the court. The judge has told them that this will hurt your clients, and in this during this period, Saddam Hussein stood up at one point, shaking his hand, shouting at the judge. He said, "We will not work with your court-appointed lawyers. We will not work with these lawyers. They are appointed by the Americans." Saddam Hussein's half-brother stood up at one moment and shouted, "Long live Iraq." There were very angry and heated exchanges in the court. The Chief Judge Rizgar Amin was trying to force the proceedings ahead. It appears to have been derailed, and just as the judge called a recess and the court was being led away, Barzan Hassan, Saddam Hussein's half-brother, stood up and said, "Why don't you just execute us?" The court is now in a short recess.